Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tubby Time. Hope you were keeping warm in this terrible November weather we're having here in New England. It's been a little while since we went and did a smoker video outside, so it's nice and windy today. We decided, let's do it. We're gonna be making some delicious St. Louis spare ribs. All right, so what do we got here? These are spare ribs, like I said, from St. Louis. I'm just kidding. It's just a style. They're not actually from St. Louis. But got these at Costco, $33 for 9 pounds, 9.69 nice pounds of spare ribs. And this actually is a 3-pack. So we're going to have 3 packs, 3 spare ribs we're making today. It's going to be a little difficult, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I've actually done spare ribs before. And a lot of times when people cook spare ribs, they use the 3-2-1 method, which is 3 hours uncovered in the smoker for, whatever, 250, and then 2 hours covered with foil, and then another hour without foil. That's the 3-2-1. Makes sense. I use a method usually that I saw on the Mad Scientist Barbecue channel where he does like 4.5 hours uncovered and then a half hour in foil and then another half hour to let the sauce set. Today we're actually going to be trying something new. I'm going to be doing Aaron Franklin's style of St. Louis spare ribs, which is a 3-and-3 method. So 3 hours uncovered, 3 hours covered with sauce inside. So very interesting. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. The other method I use works out great mostly every time, for the most part, I would think. But we're going to try his method out and see if it works. Now, if you don't know who Aaron Franklin is, he is basically the godfather of Texas-style barbecue. He owns Franklin Barbecue in Austin. I actually mentioned him in my smoker accessories video, but I called him Andrew Franklin because I think I was drunk. Someone called me out on that, so good call on that. I didn't notice until like the 4th time I watched the video, and by then it was too late. So let's rip these bad boys open. We'll get them seasoned, cut up, and begin the process. Christ. That was difficult. Like I said, we have 3 here in this package. We're going to be doing 1. I'm just going to show you how to do 1. We don't need to see all 3. So I'm using my chef's knife, mostly because we might have to cut through bone. You don't really want to use a boning knife for that. I mean, you can, but... So I'm just feeling around right now. I want to see what I'm working with. Got some good texture on here. Flip it over. These are actually butchered pretty well. I'm surprised. Now, one highly debated thing is this membrane here and what you do with that. I don't feel like peeling it off. I actually think it holds the ribs together pretty well, so I usually just do some, what do you call that? Score it, yes. So let's start on this side. I want to even this, God, I hate these cutting boards. I want to even this up a little bit. So we have some crap here. I'm trying to find where the first bone is. I'm just going to cut right here because that just is what it is. Just do that. We don't want any sharp edges, obviously. What's a little bit difficult about this specific cooking, since we're doing 3 of them, you can't really put like the fat side toward the smoker or the thick side toward the firebox. All right, this right here, that's going to come off. All right, got a little bit of fat there. That'll be fine. I'm just feeling for any sharp edges here, which I don't feel anything that's like weird. Yeah, that's going to come off. Let's move it down a little bit, because we want to expose some of that fat. And that's, for the most part, pretty good fat. I'm going to cut a little bit off here. I'm going to heavily season that area. Okay, going down to the other side here. All right, so we got a bone here. I'm going to cut right here. What's that? I know that's a bone. I'm just making sure it's not something I need to do anything with. Okay, that can stay. The skirt is pretty much off. Just gonna cut a little bit off here. There's sometimes this piece of meat that flaps up and it looks like a skirt. Well, that's, skirt steak, whatever. That's not where skirt steak comes from. But that's pretty much gone. You can see they cut it right here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna score this side. Oh, what is that? I want that. See, sometimes you gotta flip around and see what you got, because I want these to look pretty. Okay. So I'm just gonna score them like so. I'm not going too deep. But this is a tough area of the ribs. That's why people take this off. But it's not gonna like kill you, so it's fine. Right there too. All right. That's pretty much it. That's all I want to really cut off. I think we're in good shape. All right, so 20 minutes later, everything's cut up. They all look great. Awkwardly enough, the one I showed you guys probably had the least amount cut off it. This is the last one I did. I had to cut off quite a few things on the end here. There were some weird bony parts and whatnot. So we're in good shape. My hands are covered in rib meat. I love it. So now we're just gonna go through and season them. And the seasoning's pretty simple. First, we're just gonna lather this with some regular mustard. Not too much. And this is great because then afterwards your hands are gonna smell like mustard. It's freaking awesome. If I could have my hands smelling like mustard all the time, I'd be a happy person. And then we got our coarse ground pepper and salt, sea salt. And then we're just gonna go through, this is just a 50-50 blend. I use this for everything. For ribs, you don't want too much. I'm just gonna go through like so. Make sure that looks good. That looks pretty good. That's about all we want. Flip it over. If you practice on that side, since that's your side that's gonna be down, if you screw up, you're in better shape. Now I'm just gonna go on the sides, get my hands all, make sure I shake this up a little bit. So we get some even salt and pepper. For ribs, it's a little tough to do, to go on the side. But I try to, as much as I can. Real quick. I'm not presenting this for a competition, so therefore I'm not really concerned about the look of it. I just want to make sure we have even distribution of salt and pepper throughout. And that looks really good. You don't want to over season because these are thin pieces of meat. So we got that. And the only reason we're putting the mustard on there is to have something to stick to it, because once we sauce it, then we're going to be a little bit, we might get some of the seasoning off. So if we put the mustard on beforehand, it actually allows it to stick to the meat while it's in the smoker, and we're in good shape. So we do these other two, and we'll go out to the smoker. All right, I'm gonna try my best to keep this short as possible because it is windy as hell. If you look up there at that oak tree, that was full of leaves this morning. Now they're all in the neighbor's yard, so I'm sure they're thrilled. We have our 3 racks here. We're gonna throw them on the smoker. One thing I forgot to mention, if you look at this fatty area here where we cut off that extra crap, that extra muscle or whatever, you should put a little more seasoning on there just because it sometimes doesn't render well and you want that to soak in. The other thing too is the argument of using other spices on ribs. You're going to be saucing it with something that's usually has like a lot of sugar. You don't want to overload your ribs with sugar, so you don't want to really use brown sugar or anything like that because you don't want it to burn. The other thing is paprika. Paprika is mostly used for color. When I do ribs, I don't use paprika. I feel like I always get a good amount of color on the ribs without using extra seasonings. So nice, simple, salt, pepper, good to go. Smoker here, we have the chimneys at 257, fronts at 221. We're going to be aiming to cook at 260, 270, maybe even 275. And like I said, we have 3 racks here, so we really can't lay them out as evenly as you want to. I'm trying to place them all somewhat similar on here. I always forget to take out this top rack. It's pretty useless. Let's move this bad boy down. I feel like this one's the longest. All right. Unfortunately, like if we were cooking them just one or two. I could lay them this way. I don't really think I'd be able to do it with this one. Do you think I? No, it's too wide, isn't it? Let's try it.
That's why you have topper.
I guess. Yeah, that might be it. I'm trying not to be too rough with them because I don't want the seasoning to scrape off. This freaking thing. God, I wish someone would get me a Thermoworks for Christmas. Oh my God, it's going to actually work. That's great. The last racks I did, that didn't work. Okay. So this is the longest one. We got that in the middle. Thick sides, damn boy, are facing the fire. Just going to move that. You really want to be careful not to scrape that seasoning off. Okay, so we're going to check, like I said, we're going like 270. We're going to check them in an hour, spray them probably if they need it. If not, we'll just keep going. Don't forget your water pan. I got that in there. And that's it. Let's go drink a beer. All right, it's been about an hour. We're losing daylight quickly because of daylight savings time. Thank you, whoever invented that. So let's take a look at what we got going on here. Oh, look at those. Not looking bad. I don't know what that gunk is, but whatever. So looking around, they've shrunk up a little bit. The fire's been running a little bit hot, but not too hot. I'm looking at the fat right now. It's not rendering down or anything yet, which is good. We don't want that. But yeah, we had a little bit of issues with the fire originally. After I put the ribs on, I let it come down a little bit, and then I couldn't get it back up because the wind was so terrible out here. So that's my story. Let's spray these down just on the edges where they're dry. Nice color though. I did take that other rack out. I'm just using apple cider vinegar and water. Okay, that should be good. So we're running it, well, we're running at a nice 122 degree. No, I'm just kidding. We opened it, the temperature dropped. So we're going to keep running it between 260 and 275-ish. And in 2 hours, when we're ready to wrap, we will come back and look at what they're doing. Sweet. All right, everyone, we're 2 hours, 45 minutes in and freezing. And the wind sort of stopped, so that's good. The fire's been much easier to manage without wind. One disclaimer, my name is not Keith. Hopefully you know that by now. This is a sweatshirt I bought in one of those fair booths that have like, you know, clothing that's screwed up or something that you can get for like $2. So this saved my ass about like 5 years ago when I didn't bring a sweatshirt to a fair and it was like 30 out. So I'm wearing it tonight because it's very comfortable and I like to get it dirty. So, because I don't wear it anywhere else. So, like I said, 2 hours, 45 minutes in. Let me show you what I got going on here. Over here, we have a pot, and this has just been sitting here for about a half an hour. This is just apple cider vinegar and Stubs original barbecue sauce. Basically what we're doing is we are putting that on the ribs as Aaron Franklin does. Now, usually what I do, I put them on, or I put the sauce on after I take the foil off, like for the last like half hour, let it sit, and then go to town from there. In his particular case, he puts the sauce on before he puts the ribs in foil. So I already did one side, the presentation side, if you will. Here's my phone light. So these have been sitting for probably about 15 minutes. As you can see, some of the seasoning dripped off, which is sort of shitty. That sucks because we want the seasoning to be equal. But that's been sitting for 15 minutes. We are now going to take our towel and flip them over. So we sauced one side, let it sit for 15. Now we're going to flip them over. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can do this with just my bare hands. Okay. Ooh, look at the color on that side. A little bit dark, but some of the sauce is dripping off. It's not bad. Ooh, that's dark. So a little bit burnt on the bottom. I wouldn't say burnt, but it's toasty. So that's what we're working with. Like I said, a little bit dark. We did have some issues with the fire to begin with, but it's not bad. The fat's not really rendering on the top yet, so we're in good shape. So what we'll do first, we'll take our apple cider vinegar, just spritz, and we're still cooking at like 270-ish. So we're going to take this sauce, and we're just going to dab it on. And I'm just like, I'm not brushing it, I'm just sort of moving it around a little bit. It's going to be some crispy. Like I said, that's the membrane. It shouldn't be burnt. I don't think it's going to be burnt. Plus, the presentation side looks really good. This membrane is actually a pretty good barrier. That's why I like to keep it on. A lot of that color, I think, is because of the pepper, too. All right. Let's try to do a little bit more. All right. We're going to close this down, and we're going to let them sit for another 15 minutes or so. We'll bring them inside because it's windy and shitty out here, and we'll wrap them. Okay, here are our racks of ribs. They've definitely shrunk down in size a little bit. So I have 3 pieces of foil here. As you can tell, I'm not good at ripping foil. I mean, they're all different sizes. So I'm going to guess this one on top is the smallest one. We're going to use the smallest one for that. How we're looking to measure the foil is you want it twice as wide as your rack of ribs, or twice as long, because we're going to be putting them on here, like this way. So what I'm going to do, since this is the last time we're going to see them, I'm going to try to coat the inside. I have the shiny side up. Doesn't matter. I have no idea. Some people say it does. Some people say it doesn't. Just going to put a little bit of this down here. And we'll just brush it around. Why not? Just try to coat it all, because this is the way we're going to be laying our presentation side. So these are very hot. Don't think that they're not, because I'm picking them up. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to lay it like this, because we have some of that bone poking out. Do a little more here. Like I said, this is the last time you're going to see them, so we want to make sure they are good to go, nice and moist. All right, so got this here. I'm going to find my edge. You want to be very, very careful, because we don't want this to rip. We want the juices to stay in. And we're going to end up putting them on the smoker, presentation side down. The opening is going to be at the top. That's all I know. Just working my fingers around. I'm trying not to hit the bone because I don't want to. Okay. Just like so, right? So we'll end up putting them on just like this, right? Because that way everything is folded in together. There's no openings on the bottom there. Nothing's going to seep out. Simple as that. I don't think you need to see that again. So we will be back in like 3 hours-ish. We're going to keep cooking them at like 270, 275, and hopefully they should be done and not overdone. I do just want to point out, look at the pull away right now. That looks so good. Very nice. That's all. We'll see you in 3 hours. All right, everyone. It is 9 something. What time is it? 9:50. 21:50. We are in the house. We've been letting these rest for about a half an hour. This took, I would say, about 6 hours to do. And like I said, I don't cook ribs like this a lot, so I'm not sure how they're going to be. I don't know if they're going to be overcooked or whatnot. We had fine times with the fire outside. There was no like temperature errors or anything like that. But I'm a little nervous because these were pretty hot. I mean, they are done. They feel flexible. They feel tender. I'm excited to open them up. Let's see if we can do this without getting juice all over the place. All right, so I'm just gonna open like this. Oh, it smells delicious. Nope, screwed it up. God damn it. Oh, there we go. That's how you're supposed to do it. All right, definitely tender. Look at that. All right. Ooh. The sauce has a little bit of a kick to it, actually. So hopefully they're not overcooked. We're just going to see. We're going to cut them up. We do have some good pullback here. They don't look burnt. The color's a little, I don't want to say odd. It's darker than I thought it was going to be.
Color looks great.
Yeah, but let's come up and see what happens. Yeah, the last ribs I did, they didn't have the way I normally cook them, they don't have the bark falling right off like that. So that's a little concerning to me, but we'll see. It's very tough for me because I just like, you could just eat them as like a full rack, but. That's a thick piece right there, and the fat's rendered terrifically. So let's just show you what we're looking at. Good color, beautiful smoke ring. The bark on these, so the reason I think they might be a little overcooked because they'll fall off the bone. You don't want them to fall right off the bone. That's my concern. I mean, this one's fine. So we'll see. We'll see what they taste like. All right, I don't care where you take them. I'm going to take from the thin end. What do you think?
I don't think they're overcooked at all.
No, here, take that. Let's try that end.
I like how they're just like falling apart. It's very juicy.
I'm going to try this one. A pepper really stands out. Love it.
I think that's really good.
Compared to the way I normally make them, what do you think?
I like it. Do you think you could have used a little bit more salt and pepper? Or a little more salt?
Maybe a little bit more salt.
Yeah. But...
just a tad.
yeah, not a lot.
But that barbecue sauce, that mixture has a sort of a kick. That Stubs is amazing. Get some Stubs. Maybe I'll post a link to Stubs if you'd like some, but it's pretty much available anywhere. I think we'll do a comparison at some point of using the 3-2-1 method, the 3-3 method, and the way I normally do them to see which ribs taste the best. Next time I get a 3-pack of ribs, maybe we'll do that. Because that'll be pretty easy to do now that I know I can fit them horizontally on my smoker. So that's great. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment. Tell us what you want to see in our next videos. These are great, guys. Look at, oh, God.
I know.
No balls. Eat this entire bone. Just eat it like a dog.
No!
Come on, take it. All right. Until next time, everyone, stay safe, stay hungry, stay fat, and
Stay tubby.